Superman vs. Darkseid, who is stronger. There is no doubt that Superman has long been a symbol of superhuman strength and the face of all superheroes. With nearly limitless abilities, he stands as one of the most powerful characters in comic history. However, his adversary, whom even the members of the Justice League fear, is Darkseid. The villain from Apokolips is known for his superior and terrifying power. So does Superman have the capability to defeat Darkseid on his own? Both Darkseid, played by Ray Porter, and Superman, played by Henry Cavill, are portrayed as immensely powerful beings in film and comics. But who truly is the strongest? Before we dive deeper into the analysis, make sure to hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications by clicking the bell icon. In most cases, Superman isn't strong enough to defeat Darkseid on his own, even though he can stand toe-to-toe with this evil new god. However, in the story Superman vs. Darkseid, Apokolips now, Superman managed to take down Darkseid alone. While he may not necessarily be the strongest, Superman remains a top symbol of superheroes due to his widespread popularity. As the main weapon of the Justice League, Superman's strength is undeniable. Both Superman and Darkseid possess powers capable of shaking the world, but one seems to have an edge over the other. Darkseid even once turned Jimmy Olsen into kryptonite to gain the upper hand against Superman, showing that Darkseid was at a disadvantage when facing such an evenly matched opponent. Superman often faces the strongest enemies, even those that give the entire Justice League a hard time. However, there are threats beyond Superman's power, often gods or cosmic beings with powers beyond any superhero's limits. Darkseid has always been one of the most dangerous villains, requiring the entire Justice League to stop him. Yet, in one unforgettable encounter, Superman forced Darkseid into defeat, prompting him to use a boom tube to send Superman back to Earth, showcasing just how formidable both are in this clash of titans. There have been many instances where Darkseid has had to face the entire Justice League on his own. While Wonder Woman and other heroes are strong, only Superman can truly match Darkseid in terms of raw power. Thus, in most cases, the presence of the Man of Steel is essential for the Justice League to confront the ultimate evil god from Apokolips. However, no matter how powerful Superman is, defeating Darkseid has never been easy. Superman may fight him evenly, but taking down Darkseid is always a challenge. In the comic storyline Superman vs. Darkseid Apokolips Now, Superman fought and defeated Darkseid without any help from his teammates. Some might argue it was due to PI's plot-induced stupidity, but the truth is that Superman defeating Darkseid has become a consistent theme in their cosmic lore. Even though we know Superman is strong enough to face Darkseid, Darkseid almost always has the upper hand. This is because Darkseid is a new god, while Superman is merely a Kryptonian blessed with extraordinary powers. Superman's strength may allow him to reach godlike levels, enabling him to fight divine beings. However, it's important to note that the Darkseid we often see in comics and films is not the true Darkseid. The real Darkseid is a multiversal entity, the embodiment of evil and darkness, beyond the comprehension of the multiverse itself. Additionally, it's important to remember that Superman's victory over Darkseid occurred after being trained by Mongol, which helps Superman understand how to harness his powers more effectively. After being trained by Mongol, Superman showed impressive control over his abilities, debunking claims of it merely being PI since there was complex development behind it. After the Our Worlds at War event, Superman didn't get a power boost, but he learned to use his abilities in a more refined and efficient manner. The reason Darkseid's true form doesn't appear in the DC multiverse is because he is so powerful that any attempt to enter the multiverse would cause complete destruction. The true Darkseid existing outside the multiverse must send avatars into the DC universe. Thus, even if Superman can match the strength and power of one of those avatars, he still stands above most of the other Justice League members. He is as fast as Flash, stronger than Aquaman, nearly indestructible like Cyborg, and resistant to Wonder Woman's truth. Even though Darkseid is sometimes overwhelmed by Superman's power, we see the resilience of the god from Apokolips. There are moments when Darkseid even bleeds from Superman's powerful punches, clear evidence that Superman can inflict significant damage. However, instead of backing down, Superman continues to attack with increasing force, landing blow after blow, sending Darkseid flying. The fact that Superman can injure and defeat Darkseid shows just how terrifyingly powerful the Man of Steel truly is. But even if Darkseid is injured or temporarily pushed back, his limitless power and ability to regenerate remain a constant threat to others. Truthfully, even if all members of the Justice League across the DC multiverse joined forces, they still wouldn't be able to defeat Darkseid's true form. This might lead many to believe that no one in the DCEU can face Superman, but the reality is more complex. Superman, despite his unparalleled strength, remains vulnerable to kryptonite, his only weakness. This reminds us that, at his core, Superman is still a mortal Kryptonian, whose critical weakness can be exploited. In contrast, Darkseid, having survived for millennia and conquered over 100,000 worlds, has no clear weakness. He possesses immense power, a terrifying army of followers, and cannot be easily defeated. For this reason, even though Superman is incredibly powerful, Darkseid is even more frightening, making him a perpetual foe in the Snyderverse with Superman amplified by the boom tube. This is a common misconception. When Superman travels to Apokolips via the boom tube, his size does indeed change. But does that mean Superman's power was actually increased? In a lower dimension, the answer seems like yes, but in reality, in the dimension where Superman is fighting at that moment, he was not amplified. When we witness the battle between Superman and Darkseid on the fourth world, both are the same size simply because they exist in the same dimension. If Superman in that dimension is larger than an entire universe, then so is Darkseid. In this dimension, everything surpasses the size of a universe, so when Superman defeats Darkseid on the fourth world, both are actually on equal terms in terms of power. Unless Darkseid becomes incredibly small and Superman crushes him with a fingertip, we can't say Superman was amplified. Just because he appeared bigger, I'm not claiming that Superman is completely superior to Darkseid, but I do want to emphasize that Superman might have a slight edge in power. If Darkseid's strength is at a 9.9, Superman would be at a 10. This demonstrates that while Darkseid is immensely powerful and almost no one in the DC universe can compare, Superman still has the potential to surpass him, but only by a tiny margin. This difference might come from the fact that Superman not only possesses extraordinary power, but can also maximize his potential during decisive battles, even though Darkseid remains an extremely formidable opponent. Some fans argue that Darkseid often overwhelms Superman and the entire Justice League team, but this actually stems from a clear reason. It's almost funny how we see Darkseid easily defeating the superhero group in Justice League comics. However, every team member must have a role, so if Superman were to defeat Darkseid on his own, the other members would become redundant and have no purpose. To create balance, Superman's strength is often reasonably diminished so that the rest of the team can intervene and contribute to the battle. There are times when Darkseid slaps Superman aside effortlessly, but that can also be explained. You see, Superman often holds back. That holds a lot of meaning, and it's something any knowledgeable Superman fan knows very well. Most of the time, Superman intentionally endures damage, creating a false sense of compassion. As we've seen, the enemies Superman faces usually appear as mere holograms, threats that he doesn't use his full strength to confront. Subscribe to the channel, it helps us a lot, and you'll also get to watch amazing videos every day. You're the best, thank you so much. It's evident when notorious villains like Darkseid, Mongol, and even Doomsday appear, Superman often restrains his true strength in battles, just as you've seen. Everything becomes clearer when Superman no longer holds back. Thus, in battles where Superman is willing to unleash his full power, he often defeats Darkseid. However, there are times when Superman doesn't tap into his full potential, and that's when Darkseid easily overwhelms him. Unlike Superman, Darkseid never holds back any of his power during battles. He always fights with the goal of completely annihilating his opponent. That is what makes the times Darkseid overwhelms Superman so terrifying, because Darkseid shows no restraint or mercy in his confrontations with his most brutal enemy. There have been moments when Darkseid was vastly superior to Superman or to most of those who ever faced his physical incarnations. Darkseid's power comes from the source, granting him nearly infinite strength. This isn't something new, as Darkseid's true presence has existed for over 25 years. No matter how powerful Superman is, he's still an opponent who cannot fully compare. Even though he might have defeated versions of Darkseid before, he has never truly conquered Darkseid's true form, at least not through sheer strength alone. Darkseid, with his divine essence and absolute power, always surpasses Superman's limits. All this time, Superman has cleverly maneuvered Darkseid to accomplish other tasks without having to fully focus on him, knowing that he could easily manage Darkseid. The Man of Steel stands tall, hovering above, looking down at his stunned enemy beneath him. Darkseid, despite being a Titan, staggers as he tries to stand, unable to believe the Kryptonian strength. A powerful punch from Superman sends Darkseid soaring into the sky. In response, Darkseid delivers another punch, sending Superman crashing through a nearby skyscraper, but it's clear this is only a brief moment, not enough to halt Superman in this battle. Superman soars through the sky like a living bullet, propelled by the force of Thanos' blow. The wind whistles in his ears, but in a split second he regains balance midair, his eyes glowing with unwavering determination. With a thunderous crack, the Man of Steel gathers his strength and charges straight at the enemy lying crushed on the ground. His right arm extends like an arrow, preparing to deliver a mighty blow. Superman's speed and power increase, creating an unimaginable pressure, all aiming to land the decisive strike on his opponent. But it seems Thanos wasn't prepared for the devastating strength about to hit him. Thanos' massive hand glows with bright golden energy. In a lightning-fast move, he lunges and lands a vicious punch to Superman's jaw, stunning him and bringing him to his knees. Before the Man of Steel could leap up to escape, Thanos quickly grabs his face, slamming Superman's head into the ground. The impact echoes, and without missing a beat, Thanos unleashes a series of brutal punches to Superman's face and body. Each punch shakes the ground, causing everything around to tremble. Superman feels every blow like heavy waves, pushing his strength to its limits. His body trembles, nearly paralyzed from absorbing the relentless attacks. The sensation of dizziness fills him, sharp pain spreading through his head as each punch gradually weakens him. Superman could give away all his strength, but he is still forced to kneel in fear, begging Darkseid for mercy. The fact that a terrifying being like Steppenwolf submits to Darkseid speaks volumes about the absolute power of the ruler of Apokolips. Darkseid is not just an immortal god, but the supreme champion of the new gods. He easily destroys Green Lantern Yal-Gur before being forced to momentarily retreat. In Zack Snyder's Justice League, viewers clearly see that after his initial defeat, Darkseid continuously sharpened his ability to conquer worlds, growing stronger and more unstoppable. Darkseid embodies destruction, and his plans are never forgotten, merely waiting for the right time to carry out his mission of universal domination. Darkseid is a galactic threat. If Snyder's vision of the DCEU were fully realized, it might take a team of superheroes, not just Superman, to defeat the almighty Darkseid. Even though Superman has the help of another alternate Superman, we see that both Supermen can only cause a little trouble for this new true form Darkseid. Although after Darkseid defeats both Supermen, and that was only a bit of extra solar energy, it wasn't a true sun dip. And the yellow sun isn't what gives Superman the greatest power. There are white and blue suns, quasars and gamma ray bursts, LOL, cosmic energy and magic, and if some hardcore fans argue, they'll say it wasn't true form Darkseid, claiming Darkseid is an abstract entity standing above the omniverse and all similar things. So with this, some may say Darkseid won, right? The truth is, no, remember, this Darkseid has been considered the true form Darkseid since the birth of Infinite Frontier, but Superman has yet to unleash his full strength. If this new Darkseid faced a Superman using solar energy, I highly doubt Darkseid would win. What do you all think? Let us know your opinions. Thank you for watching. That's the video for today. We'll stop here. Thank you all.